If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash-making advice. Now let's get to it. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, and this podcast is designed for you to be able to help the most people possible while making the most money, while doing the least amount of work so you can enjoy your life. We no longer have to work ourselves to the bone and hustle ourselves in order to make a lot of money, in order to reach our goals, in order to get that level of life-changing cash, freedom level cash, so you can have the option to live your life on your terms and not depend on any person, place, job, or institution for money ever again. We don't need to roll that way. And so this is what the main mission of this show is, and I am a living example of it. So this girl's words almost stopped me, okay? Just wait for this story. So this now Insta-famous chick replied with a condescending laugh when I told her that I was launching a podcast. Oh, those don't make any money, and they aren't worth all the effort. This was a little over 4 years ago. And guess what? You guys are going to love this. She just recently launched her own podcast. Yeah. The podcast that's a waste of time and doesn't make any money. Meanwhile, I've made millions on it and have impacted millions of people worldwide. And now apparently she has one. Fascinating. And I almost allowed her words to get into my head. And that it did get, I will say, that negative committee in my brain started going, well, maybe she's right. And it's silly to think this will work. And who in the hell are you anyway to do this? Blah, 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 blah. Obviously, I didn't allow that committee and her opinion to control me. Instead of leaning into those thoughts, that spiral, that doubt-filled angst, I allowed it to fuel me. It was a choice. I chose to let this fuel me. And thank God, because within just months, I had my first 5-figure podcast sponsor, and I was achieving my dream of getting paid to do what I love. Teach and talk incessantly. If I had leaned into the negative, it would have cost me millions of dollars, because that's how much I've made so far by doing this. And I wouldn't have impacted millions of listeners. This podcast is now in the top 15% of all podcasts worldwide. We have listeners from countries that I've never heard of because apparently I was high during history class. Sorry, any of my teachers that listen to the show, but they probably already know. And I remember in high school, this funny ass story, random, but funny, worth it. I started dating this guy who was like the guy who's like the class president guy, like squeaky clean. He's probably going to be a poli-sci major at some like Ivy League institution, which of course he did go to an Ivy League school. Top in the class, blah, blah, blah. I was so crafty at my boarding school that I made sure to start dating him so that he could basically do my homework for me for the classes that like were way too much work for me. I've told you, I'm not conventionally smart. I'm savvy, but I'm not a book smart gal. I found a way around it, but I did get busted by my biology teacher because that woman was damn smart. And she was like, These do not match Tiffany's normal answers. And she goes, I don't know who you have doing your work for you. And I'm sure she could tell, she knew I was dating him. This boarding schools are like pretty tight knit. They know, the teachers know what's up. But of course, as a teen, I thought I was smarter than everyone. And she was like, I don't know who you have doing your homework, but I know this ain't you, honey. I mean, she's like, was that blunt with me. I'm like, oh, uh-huh. And she gave me a pass, and then I had to like get it together. But yes, that's exactly how that rolled. I have a very strong pull and intuition before I pressed record on this show. And this is something I've truly never done before. I just have this feeling that there is one more person who is a perfect fit for my mastermind, who's been all stuck in her head, in self-doubt, questioning if this is the right move for her because she doesn't know if she's far enough along in her business or if she's making enough money in her business in order to be in my mastermind. And she doesn't know who the other people are in the mastermind. And she's maybe done other programs and things before, maybe even a mastermind before, where she got nothing out of it and there was no concrete growth or plan in there. And it was just like paying all this money just to be around other people. I understand you because I'm a question asker. I can get into self-doubt really, really quickly and easily, which is why I'm recording the topic of the show that we're doing today. But I always tell you that the greatest success for my businesses and all the thousands of people I've helped is I teach you a combination of proven strategy, your intuition, because nothing trumps your intuition, creativity, and accountability, so you'll actually follow through and do it. Those 4 things are my millionaire matrix. You have one of those that's lacking, you have a major hole in your business, and you're not going to be able to get to that level of consistent cash, the 20, 40, 70, 90, 100K consistent months. You're not going to be able to get there without those things. And that's why I created this collective mastermind experience that makes sure all 4 of those boxes are very clearly checked. Now, I've already closed applications for this next week, or last week, excuse me, and we start this Wednesday. I think that's September 14th. It's our fun bonus kickoff call. So you will have to DM me on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany and ask me any other questions you have. It doesn't matter. I won't judge you. I get it. I ask wild questions. That's why I'm an interviewer for a living. Ask me any questions there and I'll let you know if I think you're a great fit or not. You can still go get the details on the mastermind info page. The pricing's on there. The payment plan's on there. All the stuff is on there. So you can go and look there and then go to at ProjectME with Tiffany on Instagram and DM me. But this is not going to go on past today. This is just my final intuitive offer to you. And I think I'm speaking to you. You know that you're someone who needs that push and you've been really on the fence and you've been kind of almost tearing yourself up about it. And you've even almost got to a point of resolve of not doing it. Yeah, you. I know who you are. Why? Because I was that person, and that's also probably why my intuition led me to do this. So this is your final call. This is the push. You heard this for a reason. So this episode where it's, I don't know if I have what it takes and other doubt-filled thoughts, I get it because this is why it took me 10 years to start ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the business coaching brand and podcast. Was all because of this. I understand this is so common and I had millions in the bank already. I already had the skill set. I already had the receipts. I had a lot of the things and it doesn't matter. I hear this from very successful entrepreneurs, influencers, men, women, people from all over the world in very different backgrounds. And it's not always about like this, I don't know if I have what it takes. It could be because you're believing that it takes some kind of superhuman energy, superhuman amounts of time and focus and discipline and organization and creativity and some kind of magic in order to have and achieve what you want to achieve. And because you're choosing to believe that and not simply going, you know what, why not? Why not make the choice to believe I do have what it takes? I mean, look at all the examples of people on Shark Tank. Look at all the examples of so many people who've been on the cover of Forbes. We're all human beings. Like Elon Musk, for example, he grew up poor with a highly abusive father and was raised by a single mother with multiple children. And then you could go, well, God, Tiffany, he is on the spectrum and is a genius, because your ego is going to try to find reasons. We can look at me. I had zero self-worth. And yes, I was raised in terms of having like the white privilege, and I was raised with money and my education was paid for. But I grew up in the house of horrors. I was being severely abused from the ages of 11 to 21 years old, and had all the mess that went along with it. And I was able to achieve it. There's so many other examples out there. Look at Oprah. I mean, there are people who've been told no a million times. My coach, Kara Alwo, she got rejected 19 times for her first book. 19. And then what that made her do, that made her go, well, I guess I got to self-publish it, because no traditional publisher is taking my book. And thank God she did, because that book, I believe the book I'm referencing is Girl Code. That was her first book that blew up. Really blew up her blog, her name, all the things, and was able to highly profit off it because she self-published and didn't go with a publisher. That's a whole nother episode. But if you haven't heard that interview with Kara, you're going to want to listen to it. It's one episode back from this one. Highly, highly recommend you listen to that after this episode. So I could have chosen, when this influencer, wealthy chick said this to me, I could have chosen to really have leaned into those self-doubt thoughts, but I chose not to. It is a choice. It's a choice. And you have to look at the cost factor of your doubt-filled thoughts. The cost factor of you putting off going after it, doing the thing, taking your business to the next level, starting the podcast, even starting to write a book, or maybe submitting your book to a publisher, or maybe asking someone to be on your podcast, or maybe trying to get press for your business, whatever the hell it is. What is the cost factor of you continuing to allow those doubt-filled thoughts to consume you? You're costing a lot of time. Look what I did. 10 years went by. We have less than 4 months left in 2022. So you might have wasted this whole year. Or you might have wasted many years like I did, already going back and forth. Should I do it? Now's not the time. Maybe I shouldn't do it. Who am I to do it? Well, I could do it. Versus just doing the damn thing. The cost factor would have cost me millions hadn't I started this show, because look what I've made. So yeah, it's going to cost you money in order to invest in maybe hiring someone to help you, hiring a coach, doing all the things. Yeah, that's called an investment in your dream and in your future and in your business. And that's a tax write-off as well, by the way, as are all of my programs, since I'm a business coach and marketing strategist. And yeah, you make that investment. That is a cost factor, but the cost of the money that you're leaving on the table by not going after the thing, the cost factor of not helping impact all the lives you could impact if you had gone after it, that's a major cost factor. What about the energetic cost factor of how incredible and empowered and impactful and fulfilled you feel from following through and doing the thing and actually showing up for yourself and showing those around you? And what about the domino effect of the people around you, your children, your partner, your friends, your community, seeing you follow through and show up for yourself and doing something different and going after your dreams and maybe pivoting and going about things a different way, or maybe even doing a completely separate career path, which I have a lot of people that come to me to help them with that. They were on this corporate path, and while that served them for a certain amount of time, it was slowly sucking their soul, and they want to do something different. And they love that I was in that spot. I came from the corporate pharmaceutical world. That's where I went after being a TV newscaster. And granted, yeah, by all corporate standards, I hit the six figures. You hit the six figures in the corporate world, right? That's like the holy grail. Now I make six figures a month, and without having to be on someone else's schedule, be working on someone else's plan, having that kind of stress. I can run the show, and I want that for you. You still have time for this year to be the year you did the damn thing. We have less than 4 months left, and let me tell you, there's still time. Don't let that negative committee in your brain tell you that we're already at the end of the year and I've only done this and da-da-da. Not true. Do you know how much can even change for you in a month? There's a reason why my famous private business coaching program is 2 months. What occurs in just 2 months there, what occurs in just 1 month there is incredible. You're not assessing the cost factor of not doing the thing. And all the energy and time you are sucking up and depleting from yourself and your life and the things that you want to do by focusing on all the reasons why it's not possible and why it's going to be so hard and why it's going to cost so much money and da-da-da-da-da. You're putting constant barriers and barriers and barriers in front of yourself. No wonder why you don't want to do it. You're making it so hard and sound so unattractive. Why can't it be fun? Why can't the journey be exciting and fun and interesting and stimulating to get to where you want to go? I'm not saying there aren't going to be potholes and there aren't going to be detours. There's not going to be shit. Of course there is. There is with everything in life. There is with relationships. There is with your health, family dynamics, you name it. Even when you're cooking. And we know I don't cook. Here's how I told a friend of mine a long time ago. He's like, so how do you cook your eggs? And I was like, I don't know. And I go, I put them in the pan and fuck with them. Because I was complaining my eggs are kind of dry, and I think we were like out to breakfast somewhere and the eggs were so like moist and fluffy. And I was like, God, these are delicious. My eggs don't taste like this. Well, how do you cook your eggs? Yeah, I put them in a pan and fuck with them for a while. I had no idea that you guys crack your eggs in a separate like bowl and put butter in them or milk in them or something and stir them around. I had no idea. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I thought you'd find it comical. But you have to have mistakes like that to learn. How would I have ever known? I wouldn't have known unless I actually Googled how to scramble eggs, which that apparently didn't cross my mind when I was making them. You do have what it takes. I think some of you are afraid because you kind of do know low key that you have it and you don't want to be wrong. Your intuition knows. You have a spidey sense. But then there's a other part of you. But what if I'm wrong? You're not fucking wrong, or you wouldn't have that thought. If you're meant for more and you have that inkling and you're meant for more, it's because you are. You need to trust that. I promise you. You know. You just don't want to be wrong, because if you're wrong, that would hurt. That would suck. And then it would be like a big, then what would I do? That's future tripping. That's a waste of time too. Stay in the present. There's really only one way, and that's to just do it. And you really have what it takes. And you making up all these reasons that you're not sure if you have it, and you don't have this degree, and you don't know technology, and you weren't of the social media generation, and you're not very creative. Yeah, you know what? Then you at least owe yourself on the other side of the paper to list all the things that you do have, and all the things on the other side of the paper that you do have what it takes, and all the things that do make you capable and do make you deserving and do make you worthy and do set yourself up for success. At least give it fair balance and do that for yourself. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. And I almost forgot, I have a secret birthday special for my Virgo ass. For my ProjectME Posse group coaching membership, I am giving you a special code to use at checkout to get $50 off, and it's secret 50. SECRET50. That's also in the show notes, and you can go join the posse where you get weekly live trainings from me and other special guest experts so that you can grow your business and be in a community of like-minded, fun people where we share the real deal, the good days, the shit days, the in-between days of going after your dreams and building a business, and plus learning the how, staying consistent, having a place to be accountable, and to collaborate with other posse members. All the details are inside projectmewithtiffany.com/ProjectMe Posse. And at checkout, use code SECRET50 for $50 off your first month. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.